Not the couch with the octopus on it, but the couch in front of the octopus painting, rather. It is a beautiful day here in southern Florida. We are having lovely weather. There's a piece of hair that's kind of bugging me. There we go. So we have lots to talk about today, as I alluded to. We're gonna start with some of the more fun stuff and more lighthearted, and then we're gonna get a little more serious. I'm not gonna lie to you. So let me adjust this. I think that's about the same, whatever. Okay, so we are gonna start, actually, I have an announcement to start the stream off. And that would be that some of you were asking in another stream if I have any other DOMs that I collaborate with or anything like that. And I mentioned that I do have one girl that had reached out to me a few months ago who is well, she's not a new Dom, but she's been just kind of doing a little bit of financial domination, not taking it too seriously. But she was wanting to get some tips about how to improve and start getting more subs and that type of thing. So she did, we did like a video chat coaching session. And so her and I have kind of become friends a little bit. We touch base every once in a while. And we decided that we are going to do a co-live stream on Thursday. So we're gonna do that at 8 p.m. So an hour before the regular live stream time. I don't quite know how to do it on YouTube, if we can do it, or how that works. So I have to look it up. Hello to Ben. Hello to Morris and Tim and Scott. Welcome. So, but that is the plan. So we will be live together on hopefully YouTube. We'll see how that works. And then another platform as well. So that one I think I do know how to do. Never done it before, but I at least know how to do it. So that should be a lot of fun and very interesting. So her name is Roxy. So you will be seeing her on Thursday. Like I said, an hour before the regular live stream, 8 p.m. Eastern time is when we'll be doing that. So there's that. And then I also wanted to, come on, straight. We'll just pull, I guess it's sideways. So some of you may recall that I have a slave named Aurelia who served me back in December and then kind of fell off for a little bit, had a change of employment, and then, of course, came crawling back as predicted. Very predictable. So she is serving me now, and at the end of this week, actually, she will have the opportunity to be, I guess you could say, apply for ownership with me. So that might be her opportunity at the end of the week if she behaves herself. She has had a couple mistakes that she's made, which I'm not happy about. She did not follow directions, shall we say. Steve is in the house. Hello. He says that's going to be a busy Thursday. Yeah. Live streaming in the morning for the day trading, and then might have an interview that day. I have a couple people I'm trying to set up interviews with right now. I did find the locked person we discussed, but I'm just waiting. We're just going back and forth trying to figure things out right now. So we'll see if that interview happens, but it's in the works. Hello, vlogs from Canada. We are, meaning me and him, are streaming from South Florida in the US. Okay, so as part of Aurelia's assignment this week, you know what? I think I need to turn on the ceiling fan. I'm a little hot. Hold that thought. We're going to read a letter from Aurelia, but first I need a little, due to the ceiling fan, a little airflow. It's a little warm. I don't know what the temperature is outside, but it feels hot in here. Are you hot? No. Anyways, and the reason we're in this room today is because, how do I say this? I did a workout on Friday, which is on my workout channel. And it was a good workout, but there's one move that has irritated my butt before. And now I know why it irritates it. But alas, it is quite irritated, like the top of my hamstring, maybe part of my glute as well. So I'm sitting on an ice pack. That's why we're on the couch and not in the other room. So I'm a hot mess. moving along. Hello to Alex and Stupid Fool. His words, not mine. Hello to Paul and Vlog wants to learn English with me. Well, we're not teaching English, but you can follow along. SRT, hello to you. So we are reading a letter from Aurelia. I told her to confess his weakness for me. And first, I'm going to show you just how atrocious his handwriting it is. It's going to be backwards for you probably, but it's very hard to read. I thought my handwriting's bad, but I was thinking about having him rewrite it. I probably should have, but I was too impatient. So we're just going to do the best we can with reading this. Terrible handwriting. Hello, Adam. So Aurelia says, to my most loved, something, Goddess Fiore, I am your servant, and I cherish the day I met you. Since then, everything changed in my brain and bit by bit in my life too. Being locked, or kind of, is something strange, scary, and new to me. It changes the paradigm of the well-established life cycle. Your bounty, your psychology, your nylons, your style, your mean attitude, your disdain, all is so perfect. What? And trigger so much out of me. Then, though sometimes is scary and super exciting at the same time. I'm having a hard time reading the terrible handwriting. This week has been a bit particular. The job is doing well. I may have a permanent proposition, but not sure how much it will be. Let me see. Even if I need to work and serve you, I think I can find something better for both of us. With all my heart, love you, your slave, Aurelia. Anyways, that is the gist of the letter. Some of it was very hard to read. But I did ask her if I could read it to you guys, and she was a little embarrassed that her feelings would be out there for the whole world to see. But I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Vlogs says I'm a very beautiful woman, and he says that with a lot of respect. Thank you for that. I like respectful comments. Hello, Elijah and Osama. What's up, Goddess? I like your top. Thank you for that. I was feeling the light pink today. Do I do brainwashing? Absolutely. That slave is quite brainwashed. And we're going to talk about brainwashing in another way very shortly, actually. Maybe we should just jump right into it. Unless there's any other questions or comments that you guys have, I can jump into the main topic, which you may not like, and I don't care. Because you are going to watch this entire video from start to finish, whether you want to hear it or not. Keep your comments respectful, or you will be removed from the chat. I have several moderators who are watching you. I have several people who have said that they think I have a lisp. I don't know if I do or not, and I really don't care. So I don't have a lisp more than any other person does, I think, but who knows? Who cares? I don't. Let's move along. Thank you. And he's been timed out. Okay, so today's topic, like I said, like I may have hinted at, is going to be a little serious, but I feel that it is relevant to this channel in some ways, and I'll explain why. So the topic today, you guys are always asking me about what I think about the war in Iran. I can never say that right, and I know I say it wrong. Iran. There we go, Iran. So, and I try to avoid talks of politics on this channel, but I fear that we are at a point in not only our country, but the world, where people need to be talking about this in any way that they can, okay? And I am going to be kind of just listing off some information as we go here. I will be asking your opinion towards the beginning, but once I get into it, I'm not going to be reading too much in the chat because I don't know what's going to be there. So we'll see. So we are going to be talking a little bit of politics today, and I'll explain what it has to do with the channel and why. My ask of you, your task today is, like I said, to watch this entire live stream and listen to what I'm saying and think about what I'm saying. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to espouse my beliefs or take everything I say for granted. I just want you to listen and to process and think about what I'm saying. That's all I ask. And you listen till the very end. So, first of all, I want to know, and this goes for everybody in the chat, even if you are an American born in the US, not born in the US, if you are in another country, because this is affecting everybody around the world at this point in various ways. I want to know in the chat. And I'm also going to say that, think about, I'm going to say before like 2016, okay? So not right now at this moment, but before 2016, I would like to know in the chat, tell me what it meant for you at that time to be an American. What would you say makes an American? What are some words that come to mind when you think of America? And like I said, not right now because things are a little bit different than they used to be, but before like 2016, what do you think it means to be an American? Answer my question. What are some words that come to mind? Everybody in the chat, are your brains working? Okay. Tiv says Americans used to be a proud people. Okay. I would like some words that come to mind. When you think of American, what are some words? And again, not right now, but before 10 years ago, we'll say. 10 years ago, what did it mean to be an American? Steve says support for democracy and human rights. Okay, we'll see if anybody else has any comments on this. I'm going to read a few of mine that came to mind. Christopher says it's the same as it is now. I think most people would disagree with you. And just a reminder to not spam the chat, because if you repeat comments over and over, you will be put in timeout by the moderators. Stupid Fool says used to be more hopeful, more aspirational. Bain says being human. Tiv says love of God and of country. RV says proud, respectful, and secured. So these are people's answers to what it means to be an American. For me, and I had a lot more time to think about this than you did because I put you on the spot. The words that came to mind for me were, number one, freedom. And I'm talking about freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of religion. These used to be very core principles to what our country stands for. And diversity was another one that came to my mind. We are known for being a country of immigrants, and we have people from many different countries in our world, or countries around the world. And most of us have our roots in other parts of the world. Like I am Italian and German. I think either great-grandparents or grandparents came from Italy and Germany. Most people are second, third generation from other countries, right? So we are a country of people from other countries. We are a blended country, okay? So I feel that diversity used to be a very important part of our country. I am American. Another word that came to mind when I was thinking about what it means to be an American is equality. And this means no matter who you are, we are all supposed to be treated equally. Whether you are white, black, brown, any color in between, female, male, whether you identify as different other things, everybody is supposed to be equal in our country. I think that's something that we can all agree on, okay? And one of the reasons I'm bringing this up today, hold on, let me get back to that one more time before I get distracted. We all know. And we're all supposed to be equal as far as our rights, okay? We are all supposed to have equal rights as Americans, okay? I think we can all agree on that. And the other thing that came to mind when I was thinking about being an American was basic decency. And that means treating people with respect and being kind to one another. Used to be an American principle, in my opinion. You can put in the chat whether you agree or disagree with anything that I said, but Caller says, I feel like there's common ground on the meaning of freedom, okay? So freedom, diversity, equality, and basic decency are the ones that I came up with. I think that's what it means to be American. That's just my opinion, being an American for 43 years. Tiv, I like that. He says, land of opportunity. Yes, that's a good one too. So the reason I'm bringing this up today is because a few weeks ago, I was with my parents, and you might have heard me mention this. I don't know if I've mentioned it on this channel or not. I was around my parents, and I was actually telling my mom about the female officer video I made where she pulls over the drunk driver. I pull over the drunk driver, and in that video, I made the comment of men shouldn't be allowed to drive, okay? As a joke, it's funny, you know, and along the lines of the role play I was doing. And my dad was not part of the conversation, but he was sitting there, and he said to me, well, women shouldn't have the right to vote. And he was not joking. He might say he was joking. He was not joking. That was a completely unrelated comment, and it really made me realize how far back we are starting to slide. And the reason that this is relevant to this channel right now is because if you are someone who follows me, who claims to be a submissive man, who claims to be into female supremacy, then you should honor women and their right to vote and their rights in general, and that we are equal. Some would say women are better, but I'm speaking seriously right now, outside of role play. And even if you are a man who, shall I say, consumes adult content in any way, shape, or form, whether it's in person with a spicy worker or something online, you should be supportive of the women who provide these services and this content to you. And I feel like a lot of times in many places, men partake in spicy work or spicy content, but then they will put down the women behind the content. And a lot of times these men also have this mentality that I'm telling you about that my dad also has at this time, that women shouldn't have equal rights to men. And I can't believe in this day and age that we are even having to have this conversation and that people are saying these things out loud. But this is how low we have sunk, okay? And this is why it doesn't matter who you are at this point. It doesn't matter if you are, what color you are, what sex you are. Everybody is being affected by what is going on right now, and everybody needs to be speaking up. How do I say this? I think over the last few years, many white men feel that they are not going to be affected by things that are going on. But the fact is, even if you belong to a party that for the most part supports white men and their rights, you still have mothers, you still have daughters and sisters, you have friends that are of different colors and different religions, you interact with people on a daily basis in some way, shape, or form that aren't the same color as you. And if you care about them, if you have that basic decency that I was talking about of supporting other Americans and treating other people with respect, if we still have that core principle of equality and diversity that we used to celebrate in our country, this should still matter to you. And if you haven't been paying attention to what's going on, I'm going to summarize a few things for you, because there are some very scary things going on in not only our country, but the world right now. And I feel like a lot of people don't pay attention, at least until it directly affects them. And I'm just a little concerned that people won't be paying attention until it's too late, until rights are rolled back for many people. So I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible and just cover the main things that I've seen, because I do consume a lot of political content. I think more so than most people do, and I'm just going to try to pass over some basic things that are going on right now that I think everybody should be paying attention to. The first being that, okay, let me back up one step. So I'm just going to say that for me, I never paid attention to politics at all until COVID happened, and my two businesses that I had were directly affected by what was going on. That is the first time I really ever watched the news, to be honest with you. And I was shocked and appalled by what I saw. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And since then I have felt like this. And it's just been so scary to watch what's going on. It's not even really about politics at this point. We are seeing a complete cultural shift in our country. And it has affected everybody, I think, in different ways. And I think a lot of people don't know even the ways that it's been affecting them and their families directly. So I'm just going to put my finger right on it. I think the first thing to pay attention to is how news has been presented over the last decade. And I just want to point out that there is a difference between news and facts versus opinion and emotion, okay? Those are two different things. It is objective, factual information, such as the sky is blue, the grass is green, versus emotional and opinion. The sky looks so beautiful today. It's a gorgeous day outside. The grass is looking really good. Those are subjective statements. Those are opinion, okay? Fact versus opinion seems to have gotten really lost in this world and in news. People don't seem to understand the difference between a fact and an opinion. And the thing you have to realize is that a lot of what you're seeing on any mainstream news channel, whether it's Fox News, CNN, MSN, whatever, the majority of what you're seeing is opinion, okay? The next time you watch any news, I want you to pay attention to the language. What are people saying? Are they saying facts? The sky is blue? Or are they saying opinion? I hate this. This is wrong. Blah, 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 whatever it is, okay? There's a difference. And you need to be paying attention to the difference, okay? Because what has happened is people are consuming so much news They're hearing the same thing over and over, repeated by various people, and the majority of it is opinion and not actually based in fact. The other thing that I've noticed is, and I believe that this started around the time of COVID, that there is a willful ignorance in our country. What do I mean by this? People are turning a blind eye to things that they don't want to hear about. You don't like what's happening, then you just put your fingers in your ears and you sing la 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 and just pretend like it's not happening. That doesn't change the fact that it's actually happening. But there has become this willful ignorance. And like I said, it started with COVID. And many people in the news have propped up this willful ignorance and given, or I should say, empowered people to believe what they want to believe and not what is actual fact. So the next time you watch something, or maybe even just write down a list of your core beliefs, and ask yourself, do I believe this because it's based in fact, or do I believe this because I listened to somebody's opinion and it's what I want to believe? Most people are consuming news, and a lot of this is due to algorithms that are in our phones and on whatever platform you're watching your news on, that the algorithms are feeding us. They're telling us things that we want to hear, okay? So how often do you actually listen to somebody who's not telling you what you want to hear, or somebody who has a different opinion than you? And when you listen to that person, if you give them an opportunity to speak, are you actually listening to what they say, or are you just going to talk over them and just spit out whatever information you've been consuming on a daily basis? Something to think about. And I also want to say this, and people can get mad at me about this, I don't really care, but I feel around the time of COVID, one of the reasons that this willful ignorance happened is because a lot of people are emotionally weak. It was not easy to accept the fact that there was a worldwide virus and that lots of people were going to die. It was easier to believe people telling you that you didn't have to wear a mask, you didn't have to get the vaccine. That's easier to believe. Just pretend like nothing's happening and brush it under a rug. But that doesn't mean problems go away just because you ignore them. So, like I said, this willful ignorance, in my opinion, started around that time. And it has continued, and it has gotten worse to the point where people have shifted from valuing expertise and science and fact towards validating their pre-existing beliefs that are based on opinion and listening to people who validate these pre-existing beliefs. So if you know anything about science or how science works, you start with a hypothesis. You think something is this way because of whatever. You have a hypothesis. And then you design research to either prove your hypothesis or disprove it. What's happening now is people are doing away with science. We're saying, fuck that. Let's just do a study that props up what we believe. It just shows that our hypothesis is correct one way or another. We're going to skew the results so that it proves our hypothesis, whether or not it's an actual good study or not. People are completely making up studies. We saw this with the MAHA report. If you weren't aware, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made a MAHA report that was based on studies that didn't even exist. We don't know if he looked it up with AI or what happened, but reporters called the scientists listed in the studies, and they had not even done those studies. Okay, so we are making up facts. We are making up studies to try to support our pre-existing beliefs. This is a problem, okay? That is not how things work. That's not how science works. And we're also trying to debase science in general and fact so that people just believe whatever we want them to believe. if you don't see this as a problem, then you're going to find out the hard way, I think. So, one of the ways that I think it's important to know what's really going on, take away all the news, take away all the opinions, all the people that you see on news channels with the commentators and all that. Take all that away. Let's just listen to what comes out of Trump's mouth. Trump is our president. What is the president telling us? Well, how many times did he tell us when he was on the campaign trail, and for years before that, that he was not going to start any wars? How many times did he say that? I can't even tell you. Nobody knows, okay? Nobody even knows how many times he said that. But he's been saying it for a long frickin' time. In fact, he's even accused other presidents going back many years saying that they were going to do this, that they were weak and that they were going to do this for political benefit. But who is the one that actually did it? Him. Now, normally, a lot of people are going to argue with this. That's fine. Normally, gas prices, people love to blame on the president. But you know what? Most of the time, it has nothing to do with their policies. The price of gas has very little to do with the policies that the current president is enacting. However, I don't know about you, but gas in Florida was, I believe, $1.99 like 4 weeks ago. It's almost $4 now. This is a direct result of Trump's war on Iran. You cannot try to brush it away any other way. This is a direct result of his voluntary war on Iran, our gas prices right now. You know, if you're going to try to spin it, I'm very curious to hear how you're going to try to spin that one. Because 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, gas was half price. And it's not really affecting me much. I stay at home most of the time, but you people that drive to work and stuff, I feel terrible for you. So how do you justify someone who said for years that he wasn't going to start a war with Iran? He claimed to be the peace president. He claimed that he was never going to do any of this stuff. And we are 3 weeks in. I can't remember the amount off the top of my head, but I think it was like, if you know in the chat, by all means, list it. I'm trying not to read the chat right now because I know there's going to be a lot of people not happy with me. But I want to say it was like $7 billion in 3 days or something that we've spent on this war in like a very short period of time. And the Defense Department already has, well, the War Department, whatever, I'll get to that later, already had several $1 trillion that were allotted to them, which is a lot higher than past years from my understanding. If you know the exact numbers, by all means share. But my understanding is that the Department of Defense, War, has a lot more money allocated to them than they have in the past. And now they're asking for an additional $200 billion for this war. And then let's just remember that many people were just cut off of Medicaid and food assistance. But we're going to spend another $200 billion on this war. And we're all paying double for gas right now, essentially. I don't know, it might be different in different states, but it's almost double here in Florida. So, and I have seen, because I do watch a little bit of everything, I have seen right-wing podcasters starting to wake up and not support Trump, which is very interesting to see. Because when I first started watching the news during COVID, I was watching the stuff that people were saying, like Trump and everyone else, and I was like, either they are saying incorrect info with malicious intent, like they know what they're saying is a lie and they're doing it intentionally, or Are they just so ignorant that they really think what they're saying is true? And so that's always a question I've had in my mind. Are they intentionally spreading misinformation and lies in a malicious way to fool people? Or are there some people who are so ignorant that they don't realize what they're saying is complete bullshit? And a perfect example of this is actually Marjorie Taylor Greene. If you have not been paying attention, she had a huge falling out with Trump recently because they clashed on the Epstein files. She felt very strongly that the Epstein files should be released, and Trump has been doing everything that he can to hide what's in there. And so he was very upset with her that she was supporting a piece of legislation that would make them release the files. So that was the clash that they had. That was the falling out that they had. And hearing her talk now, I realize that she's just a fucking moron. She actually believed all the crap that she was spewing. I thought she was, like I just said, spewing bullshit, knowing it was bullshit, but she actually believes and believed the bullshit. And I know this is the case for a lot of supporters also, is that, and a lot of people that are falling off, like, Nick Fuentes, he has now disavowed Trump as well. Was always a supporter of Trump. And he's another one, and Joe Rogan as well. And it's making me realize that these people are just so stupid that they bought into the lies and believed all the crap. And it's shocking to me. So some of you may know that I worked as a dancer in clubs for about 5 years. I talk about that pretty frequently. And this was never my style. I'm a very honest person. You can believe what you want. But having worked in many strip clubs, I can tell you that dancers will tell you what you want to hear to get your money. Okay, that's kind of how it works. In case you didn't know, they don't actually like you. They're just telling you that so they can get your money. Okay, like I said, that was not my thing. I was never the kind to suck up to a dude, if you couldn't tell. And Trump, in my brain, is essentially an orange dancer. Okay, that's how I think of him. He is telling people, and has been for years, whatever they want to hear to get what he wants. Okay, it is the same mentality. So I always like to say, if you believe the things that Trump is saying, then please do not ever go into a club because you will lose all your money. If you are that gullible and naive. The man does not give a crap about anybody. All he cares about is making money for himself, okay? That's all he cares about. I don't know who needs to hear that, but it's true. And if you aren't aware of that, you need to wake up. It's time to get your head out of the sand, grow some balls, and realize that you've been conned. You've been lied to, okay? It was all a con. It was all a lie, okay? Just like he lied about starting a war in Iran. He lied to you for years and said he wasn't gonna do this. Tulsi Gabbard lied to you. J.D. Vance lied to you. Well, that guy lied about everything. But these people are lying to you. And I know what you're gonna say. Oh, well, politicians lie. Spare me the crap. Not like this. These are different times, okay? These are different times we're living in, and this is on a completely different level. Because the other thing, I don't know how people aren't aware of, is that Trump has completely destroyed our relationships with our allies. This is very fucking dangerous, okay? Have you not heard him over the last 10 years? Every single thing that comes out about out of his mouth about Putin is praise. He has nothing but nice things to say about that terrible person, okay? And Kim Jong-un, the fat little dude from North Korea who wants to blow everybody up with missiles, he loves Kim Jong-un. You know why? Because they're bullies. Because Trump's a bully. He wants to be like them. Do you want to live in North Korea? Do you want to live in Russia? because that is not American. We stand for freedom, personal freedoms, the freedom of speech, the freedom of thought. These are countries that do not allow these things. We stand for equality, yes, and the Hungarian fucker. What's his name? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Oh, he loves that guy. These are terrible fucking people that he is befriending. In the meantime, he's talking crap about all our allies. If you weren't aware of it, on his stupid little Truth Social page the other day, he called our allies cowards. He called all our NATO allies cowards. So, I am no pro when it comes to politics and economics and that kind of thing. I'm just a normal human being who had 2 businesses and started watching politics, and I'm just like watching a fucking horror show. But I can tell you that when you insult people, they're not going to want to help you out. And besides that, NATO is for defense, okay? So when somebody, say China was to attack us, NATO jumps in to help. We attacked Iran, and Trump is calling our allies cowards for not jumping in to save us, to risk their troops and their lives. For what? He didn't even tell them that he was doing this. So, Trump is a frickin' embarrassment. I am embarrassed to be in this country right now. And I have held my tongue for years. I haven't said anything on social media. I haven't really said anything in person to people. And I'm done. I am done holding my tongue and not saying anything and being polite and trying to change the subject, which I'm sure a lot of you have done. The time for that is done, okay? These MAGA people and Trump supporters love to shove this crap in our face every chance they get. If you weren't at the beginning of this live stream, I told you that a few weeks ago, my dad said to my face that women should not have the right to vote. Fuck that. I haven't spoken to my parents since then. I'm not saying I'm going to completely cut them off. I will be here for them if they need me. But I am done sitting there taking it from people. I am done just sitting idly by and not doing anything and not saying anything. Steve says silence is consent, and deadly. It is. So this is me encouraging anybody who goes back and watches this later, or if you're watching it now, to do whatever you need to do to make your voice heard. Post on social media. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends if you can. I know it's hard. I think everybody in my family except for one person is a Trump supporter. It's not easy, you know. If you want to try to maintain relationships, it's not easy right now, but this is part of the problem. We're not in a civil war, but we already are in a civil war because people are so divided that you can't even have conversations about people. And you know why that is? Because people are so brainwashed by the things that I said earlier. They've been consuming content for years that makes them hate other people, that makes them think if you don't agree with everything that they agree with, that you're labeled as an evil liberal or illegal immigrant, whatever label they want to assign to you, and they write off your opinion. So I don't consider myself a liberal. I'm not anything. I was just a person who had a couple businesses that got destroyed by the pandemic and just been watching everything fall apart since then. But anytime I voice an opinion that differs from people, I get labeled. That's your label, not mine. Who are you to tell me what I am? Who are you to tell anybody who they are? You're not. You don't have that right. We used to be able to disagree and have productive conversations. I just feel like that's completely gone now. And the other thing that you need to be aware of right now is, in case you didn't know this just happened. Well, let me back up one step. So in the big beautiful bill that was passed by Congress, you may have heard of it, there was, from what I've heard, $191 billion that were allocated to the Department of Homeland Security, and 75 billion of that money was allocated to ICE. Okay, so we all know what's been going on with ICE in the country right now, unless you live under a rock. I'm not going to go into that, but Trump just announced, I think it was either yesterday or today, tell me if you've heard about this, ICE is now going to be in airports doing security. Hope you're not traveling anytime soon. This is freaking scary. This is scary shit. We have seen them murder 2 Americans. We all saw the videos, and you can spin it however you want. We all watch the same video. We can watch the same video and people think 2 different things. I don't know how that happens because it seems very obvious. If you watch the video without anybody in your ear telling you what's going on, you should be able to figure out what's really going on. The problem is, like I said, you're listening to opinion and people's comments and pre-existing beliefs rather than just watching something with your own eyes and ears and forming your own opinion. People need to learn to think for themselves. I don't know why that's so hard. So, as of tomorrow, it starts tomorrow, ICE will now be in airports. So we'll see how that goes. I think that's really freaking scary. And the other thing I'm gonna add is along the lines of the labeling, as I called it. Hold on, let me adjust my ice pack under my butt. So, like I said, people love to label people who disagree with them, usually if they're on the right. They love to label people as liberals or illegals or whatever. And one thing that Trump loves to do is claim that anybody who shows up at a protest is a paid agitator. So this is another way of dehumanizing people and trying to degrade them, to say that they are, oh, they're protesting against me, they must be paid. Just so you know, a lot of people showing up to protests are not paid. It'd be really hard to pay millions of people. That sounds incredibly expensive. And I think the right wing's the one with all the oil companies supporting them, right? So they like to claim that these people are paid agitators. And I also saw a video, tell me if you've seen this. There was a video posted a couple weeks ago where a woman was protesting ICE and she was filming them. She wasn't doing anything violent, she was just filming them. And the ICE officer was walking around her car and taking pictures of her license plate. And she said, "Why are you doing that?" And he said, "Oh, you're just gonna go on a little list that we have because you're a domestic terrorist now." So this is another label that they are assigning anyone that they don't like. So, you know, I'm encouraging people to speak up, but I'm also going to tell you that I don't know how safe it is at this point. I don't know how it's going to work with posting stuff online. Are they monitoring stuff online and they're going to label you as a domestic terrorist if you're voicing your opinion like I am now? I don't give a fuck, honestly. I'm going to do it anyways, and I hope you do too. But I'm just letting you know that this is some scary shit. This is some scary shit. That lady had the right to be there and protest by filming ICE with her phone. She wasn't doing anything wrong, but he told her that she's now going to be labeled as a domestic terrorist for doing that. So we have people working for our government telling us that if we exercise our freedom of speech and our right to protest, that we are now domestic terrorists. And that sounds so nice to put on Fox News. Oh, we arrested a group of domestic terrorists who were actually just citizens filming with their phones. I don't know. It's pretty freaking scary. And I don't know how people don't see this. So like I said, my instructions request of you at this point is to, like I said, watch this video all the way through and just listen to what I'm saying. Just hear me out and think about what I'm saying. That's all I ask. I'm not necessarily asking you to agree with me. I'm just asking you to think, okay? To use your head, to use critical thinking, okay? And just be aware that if you don't pay attention, some scary shit's probably gonna happen, okay? Like, it's getting real right now. And if you see some ice in the airport, don't be surprised, because I told you it's happening. What's the next step? Are they gonna put ice at polling places? That's what some people think. I did also hear that ICE recently acquired enough weapons contracts to essentially militarize the entire country. I'll have to research a little bit more, but I did hear that. That's pretty fucking scary. Has anybody seen The Handmaid's Tale? Because that's what it's starting to feel like. So, you know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I have looked into getting out of the country, and I am considering it as an option at some point if things get worse, because this is getting pretty bad. This is getting pretty bad. People, you know, I just feel like Trump and this movement has empowered people to embrace the worst parts of themselves. The racism, the homophobicism, I don't know. You know what I'm saying. And they have tapped into a way to feed off people's emotions and what's the word I'm looking for? Sense of entitlement, make them think that they're more entitled to certain things than other people. You're not. We are all equal in this country, believe it or not. And I am just incredibly embarrassed right now to have that person in charge of our country and embarrassing us in front of our allies, and the people who continuously to support him, even though it's very obvious that they've been lied to and taken advantage of. I think it's sad that people have too much pride to admit that they've been lied to and conned. I mean, because if you don't know it at this point, I don't know what to tell you. The guy told you we weren't going to get into a frickin' war for years, and then now we're in a war with Iran. Well, he calls it an excursion, you know, like when you're on a cruise ship and you go out on an excursion. Because he's so fucking stupid, he doesn't know it's an incursion. Incursion, not excursion. Whatever, I digress. Y'all voted for a moron, and not even just a moron, an evil moron who wants to tear our country apart and doesn't give a fuck. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I don't know if you saw on, I don't know what social media platform it was, but the White House put out these very weird videos where it's like a video game of America being in a war right now. And that's what this is to Trump, okay? Just so you know, like, he loves this shit. He loves chaos. He loves violence. He doesn't give a fuck if people die. People mean nothing to him. He has zero empathy. He doesn't know how to have empathy for other people. And, you know, people say that he has dementia and stuff. I don't think he has dementia, but the guy is super dangerous because he's a freaking narcissist who has no empathy for other people, and he only cares about his own interests. So, you know, I guess people are just gonna have to find out the hard way, and there's gonna be those diehard fans who, even as, you know, gas skyrockets to, I don't know, $8 a gallon, and, you know, inflation rises to 5 or 6%, they're still gonna be thinking he's like the best thing ever just because he told them that. Like, learn how to think for yourself, please. Please, for the love of God. It's just, we're smarter than this, okay? Let's go back to those values that we used to have as Americans. Freedom, respect, okay? Diversity, equality. What happened to that? Okay? You're gonna listen to some crazy orange motherfucker who's almost 80 years old and his neck looks like a vagina? You're gonna listen to this guy? He is a freaking con man, okay? It's time to wake the fuck up. So my instructions for you, like I said, listen to what Trump says. Listen to what he has said in the past. Listen to what he's saying now. Does it match up? Or is he lying? Okay. Does the story change? Because I think you'll find a pattern that's not very hard to spot. I don't know why it's so hard for some people. I encourage you to treat everyone as you would want to be treated, okay? With respect. And like I said, it's time to speak up. It's time to post on social media. It's time to have conversations with your family and friends. And it's also time to show up in any way that you can. There is a No Kings March on this Saturday, the 28th. Your task that I'm assigning every person watching this, every person on my channel, is to sign up for that and to show up and to bring 3 people with you. I'm doing it. I've never been to a protest in my life, okay? And I invited everybody that I knew, which isn't a whole lot of people in Southern Florida, I can tell you that, to join me to show up. Because this is important. Things are getting out of hand. The other thing about the issue of ICE in airports is basically Republicans are preventing the funding of TSA. And so that is how they're using to justify putting ICE in airports starting tomorrow. So they're not funding TSA and they're going to start putting ICE in airports. We'll see how that goes. Okay, I think that is kind of the entire rant that I had. Soulful Vibe says, where is this at? Are you talking about the march that I just mentioned? The No Kings protest? It's all over the country. All you have to do is go to No Kings, just Google it, and you can find one near you. I mean, I'm in Southern Florida and there's plenty of them around here to go to, so if I can find one in Southern Florida, I guarantee you there's one near you. So this is the 3rd protest they've had. I haven't been to the other ones, but every time they've had them, there's been more and more people. And like I said, Trump and Fox News love to say that it's paid agitators showing up, but I can tell you that I'm a real person and I will be showing up unpaid. Nobody's paying me. Actually, some of my subs might end up paying me while I'm there, but that doesn't really count. It's not really the same. So, and I do realize that this conversation is, for the most part off topic. Like I said, I do think there is some relevance to my channel, and I think in some respect, this is affecting everybody, not just in America, but the world at this point. One of the subscribers here, I don't remember who it was, but it was one of our Canadian friends here on the channel, left a comment, and he said something along the lines of, and I think this is very important to realize, and a lot of people don't realize this, that usually in American politics, we have these 2 stupid parties. Nobody likes it, okay? It's just the way it is, and every 4 years, usually we rotate from one to the other. It's like back and forth, okay? Like every 4 years, it's Republican, then Democrat, whatever. But the changes that are happening right now, the destruction of our relationships with our allies, these are things that are going to take decades to come back from, okay? This is not just temporary. The things that are happening right now are not temporary. It's going to pull us back very far. Relationships take trust and communication. We can see with our own eyes the communication that Trump has with our allies, and they are not respectful. They do not instill trust in the United States. He is literally destroying the relationships with our allies. Canada, Mexico, Europe, everybody freaking hates us, okay? And I don't blame them. Just know if you are in another country that Not all of us are completely brainwashed and ignorant to what's going on. We are very well aware and embarrassed and really scared. So, Johnny, you can make jokes all you want, but when your rights are taken away, when your wife or girlfriend loses the right to vote, it won't be funny then, will it? Soulful Vibe says it's worth it depending on where you're going, worth the drive. Illa says, hun, we are screwed as Americans. Well, that's great. So we should just give up and roll over? Cool. I'd rather say something and do something about it. Bud Bunny is obviously coming in at the end of the stream and has no idea what's going on because I've already gone over several of those. But in case you didn't hear the part about ICE being in airports starting tomorrow, you should know about that. So, all right. So that is my request of you, is if you are listening, to sign up for a protest. I would appreciate it. But like I said, it is time to start speaking out. And there are some people that are so far gone, they're not going to come back or ever admit that they were wrong about anything. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. Some people are starting to come around and realize that they were lied to and conned. And it's not easy. We have to do our best to not to tell them I told you so, but just kind of move forward as best we can from here. And I don't know what the solution is right now. All I know is the most important thing right now is to make your voice heard in any way that you can. That is the most important thing. Public pressure does get things done, okay? This is not a time to roll over and just bury your head in the sand. This is a time to activate, to talk with other people and get them excited and activated to actually do something. That's the only way that things are going to change. We have to put public pressure on officials to change things. That's how change happens. All right, so that is the live stream. I will be back, and I will probably not be talking about politics again at all, ever on this channel. I just, I had to do it just one time, and make that request with that coming up next Saturday. So I will try to stay away from politics for the most part. I know it's very controversial, and I don't like to get into people, but I do think more people need to be speaking up at this point. Tyrell says, great news, great talk. Thank you for that. And Illis agrees, yes, the power is with the people. I agree. And Surfboards is labeling me. I talked about this earlier. How you just like to label anybody who doesn't agree with you. It's pathetic. That's what it is. You don't tell me who I am. Okay. So I will be live again at the regular time, around 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. And then, like I said, Thursday should be really fun. I'm going to co-stream with my friend. She does mostly faceless content, so I don't know if she'll be showing her face. I don't think she will, but I can tell you she's very pretty, and it should be a lot of fun. So that will be happening Thursday, 8 p.m. And I did finish editing a doctor roleplay video. I'm having a little hard time with the YouTube algorithm uploading it, so I'm going to try again as soon as I hang up with you guys. And Emil, thank you for that. He says, Goddess, I admire your willingness to speak out. Thank you for that. Tyrell says, see you later. Soulful Vibe says, what happened to everyone who went to the other march? I don't know what you mean. And Steve loves my doctor videos. Thank you for that. I'm having a hard time with this one. Okay, so this one, the original video I think is like almost 6 or 7 minutes long. I cut out a lot of the language that YouTube won't like, and they still don't like it. So I'm gonna try to cut out a little bit more. There will be a full version posted to my clip sites and adult platforms, but YouTube doesn't really like the premise of the video, which means it's good. So I'm gonna go try to edit it again and upload it again and see if I can squeeze it in. But anyways, I'll be back live tomorrow morning, and I'll see you then. Bye.